back to the Resell Show. I'm your host, Joy Harris, and I'm here with today's guest, Rob Ransome, who is the principal broker of Ransome Realty Group. Rob, tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
My name is Rob Ransome. I am the principal broker of Ransome Realty Group. Just founded this year. Been in real estate 13 years, though, overall. Primarily do a lot of stuff with investing. Has been sort of the base of my business, and building that business through the years has led me to a lot of other things, higher end resales and that sort of stuff. But I always have a special little place for investors in everything I do, and that is from flipping homes to even buying and holding to rent. So I help folks with all of that.
Okay, so investors, flippers, sellers, listen up. Want to jump right in?
Sure.
What would you say are the new trendy features that home buyers are really looking for in a property?
Okay, so I have my little cheat sheet
because
I wanted to write some things down. And it's sort of area specific. So I go back and forth to the West Coast a lot, and when I'm out there, I always look at kind of what's going on out there versus what's happening here. I tend to see things there that are more forward thinking than I do here. Even more so than New York even. New York is a lot of the condos and lofts. When you get out there, you have a mixture of condos and lofts and that sort of stuff, but then you have these single family homes that are just out of this world. So some of the things that I see West Coast wise, I see black and white kitchens, which most people don't think black cabinets and that sort of stuff. But that is something that I've seen quite a few in quite a few homes there. That was, when you see it, it's definitely different, and you have to do it right to pull it off. But that's something that I'm seeing there. I don't know if that trend will follow this way or head this way. You also have to have a big kitchen to be able to do it, because black as a color in a home, in a room, makes it look so much smaller. So you have to have a big room to do it. Blended spaces also is a very huge thing on the West Coast. So those whole sliding glass walls on the back end of a house that will open it up to the outside. Now they have the weather to do that in most cases. If you're in LA or San Diego, you have the weather to do that. Miami is one of those places that has a lot of that sort of stuff too. I don't see it as much here in Richmond. In Richmond, I see farmhouse chic is what they're calling it. So these farmhouses that look like a farmhouse on the outside, but when you go in, it has these large open spaces that gives it that very modern feel, that updated feel. When you go in a lot of these homes now, they have these blended kitchen and great room spaces, and everything kind of flows together for entertainment and that sort of thing. So it's a farmhouse on the outside, but on the inside, that's what it looks like.
So do they still want kind of the sliding barn doors on the interior, or the interior strictly modern? So
they will do barn doors, reclaimed wood, which is a really nice touch when you have a lot of earthy material, when you have hardwood floors and those. So those things sort of go together, but then they'll mix in the granite or the quartz, or on the outside, they'll do a batten type, board and batten type exterior, where it has vertical lines in it, and that's a classic farmhouse look. So that is a very, very nice look. I've seen a few of them in Northside coming up. Don't know where the next one will pop up. West End, of course, out here. But definitely a very, very nice look. And
so if you're a seller and you kind of want a tight budget, what would you say are the, hey, do these 1, 2, 3 things? We know everyone can't necessarily hit all the trends. I definitely think some of your suggestions of what's coming has helped set sellers apart in the competition. What are those kind of 1, 2 things that a seller on a budget can really put in their home to pack a powerful punch?
Pack a powerful punch, fresh paint, and fresh carpet.
That's
if you have carpet, that's simple. Paint is one of those things. Outside of location, paint is the second highest thing that will stop a buyer from purchasing a home. And I've had buyers. We'll go into a house and it may be 3 or 4 different colors depending on the kids' rooms versus all the other spaces, and people just get turned off by that. And I'm saying, well, it's just paint. You can paint over it. For some people, they just don't grasp that concept. So, and gray, you have to go with a gray paint these days. The days of the brown tones, the eggshells, that sort of stuff, that makes it feel very dated, very 90s, even some early 2000s. But now you see this gray tone or shades of gray and with pops of color playing off of that. So if you go into any model homes, for instance, you'll see gray walls primarily. But then you'll see a gray blue or a gray green or a gray, so it's a lot of different variations to that. But as long as you fall into one of those shades, that's good. Fresh carpet is like new car smell.
Right.
So everybody loves that new car smell. Fresh carpet gives a house that smell. And those are the two things that signify to buyers that they've done something to this house. Always, focus on your kitchen space. Even if it's a small kitchen, if it's really nice, buyers will appreciate that. And master bathroom space. If you have an ensuite bath, definitely need to be top notch. So if you do the ceramic tile or nice floors, a lot of people now, and I'm using them myself, actually vinyl plank flooring. A really, really nice product. It's durable. It looks good. Comes in hundreds of colors. Easy to put down, and it finishes a space really, really nicely. Propels water and all that stuff. So it definitely is one of those things that people like to see. And it's reasonable in price.
So I know you have your hands kind of in a lot of areas of Richmond, and you deal with a lot of sellers who are trying to get the closing. What's some things that you see that are hang-ups along the way that you wish I would have been able to step in 2-3 months before you got to this process? I would have told you don't do that because we can get to closing faster. What are those like?
From the selling standpoint?
From the selling standpoint.
So understand that when you get into a real estate transaction of what it is nowadays, there's a lot of regulation involved with real estate. They're large transactions, a lot of money usually. So people like to move money around. Not that that's illegal, but you have to know how to move money around. So that's one thing that I would always tell somebody, just talk to somebody before you start moving a lot of money and doing different things, liquidating, doing different things, just because you just don't want the bank or whomever to come back and say anything. And that's on the buying side. But on the selling side too, you always have to be careful about just how you put your property out there. Selling side, if you're going to if you're going to sell, the biggest thing, use a professional.
Right. You hear that?
Use a professional. And even within our industry, there are others that stand head and shoulders above the other people. Right. And so use someone who's going to take your property and promote it as if it's theirs. No cutting corners. Most buyers now, 98% of buyers now start their search on the internet. Okay. So that means your house has to show the best it's going to show on the internet first. If someone comes to your house and says, hey, I'm going to take pictures to put on MLS, and they pull out their cell phone, not a good deal.
Red flag. Red flag.
When you see pictures now, most of us are using professional photographers. And it highlights the property. It makes the property look good. I myself, I stage all of my properties. Every single property that I sell, if it's an empty, like a flip, and it's empty, my stager will come in. I pay for her to come in, and she'll bring in all the furniture and stage the spaces. And I will say that every house that she's ever staged for me, I've sold, and she's done quite a few. Her name is Laura Frank. Shout out to Laura. Laura Frank, perfect spaces, staging. But staging is definitely one of those things that is underutilized, and the value cannot be said enough.
So it's worth the investment. It's not enough to just watch HGTV and move your couch, kind of cat corner. Like, it's worth the investment.
That's why we have to stage, in my opinion, because every buyer, especially when they know they're getting into the market to buy a house, that's what they do. They flip on HGTV. They flip on DIY. They want to watch Nicole. They want to watch the Property Brothers. They want to watch, Joanne and I can't think of his name. But you know,
yes, I know you're
they want to watch all these folks, and in those shows, when they're showing these finished rooms, those rooms have been staged.
Right.
So now that buyer's mind is set to see
where the bar is,
and I don't care if it's $100,000 property or if it's a $500,000 property. They want to walk in and have an emotional connection with it, and some of that is done through staging. We have to set the tone, set the picture for them.
Right.
And someone told me this a long time ago, and I don't know how true it is, but it always stuck in my head that if you don't give a buyer somewhere to sit down and actually reflect and think about this being their space, you will not sell the property.
That is repeat it for the people in the back.
So someone told me that if you do not give a buyer a place to sit down in a home, that you will not sell the property. We need a buyer to sit down and reflect on that space being theirs. So when I stage, obviously we have couches, we have chairs, we have, if it's a bar top, we have bar stools and those sorts of things, and we make the place inviting for people to come in and as if they're entertained, and so and it works.
So it sounds like to me, you're not just the realtor selling the home, but you're actually a conduit of like the emotional connection for the buyer. You're really getting into the science of what it takes for a buyer to feel attached to the property in order for it to be so.
You have to. Understand nowadays, realtors are very good negotiators. Okay? When a seller calls me in to sell their property, I'm first going in to sit down with them and negotiate with them on the price. And then I put it out to the public and I negotiate with the other agents and the public as a whole on why that price should be where it is.
Right.
Okay. Based on the data that I'm seeing. That's what I love about real estate, because it's all numbers, right? You go back and you look at numbers and you figure out, okay, price wise, this is where we should be. We'll probably appraise at this price. All we need to do now is set the stage. Back when I first got into real estate, it was where someone would come to me and say, hey, find me this particular property. I need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, this neighborhood, this price range.
Right.
And I would go stay on MLS all day and look and go to the real estate book and some of the other things that are out there and find that property. Now, 99% of the time, my buyers see the property before I've seen it.
Right.
Because I'm out running, going from house to house, taking appointments, but they're sitting in their office or at home or whatever, on their tablet or their phone, swiping through all of these real estate portals, looking at pictures and seeing things. So when they call me now, they say, hey, show me this house.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now I've stepped back into the negotiating role, because on the buying side, I need to negotiate to get you the best price, and the best terms. So that's what we do now. And if you don't understand that as an agent, then I don't know what to. You have to be that person and have to understand that.
So it sounds like you're saying buyers have become a lot more savvy, and on the seller side, it's not enough to just say I have a house and I want to open it up, and if you open it, they will come. You actually have to elevate your selling strategy a lot higher. Yeah,
you have to win the beauty contest, staging, and you have to win the price war. Those are the 2 things that that you have going for you. I mean, location is always going to be rule number 1, paramount. Location, location, location. You hear that in every real estate, whatever read, whatever book you read, whatever podcast you listen to, you'll always hear about location. But the other 2 to that are beauty contest and price war.
Okay, all right. You heard beauty contest and price war. So make sure you pay attention, because he's giving a lot of great tips. Tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Social media. So on my Facebook, I am Rob Ransome Real Estate. So it's a long title. I keep thinking I'm going to change it. But anyway, I have that. And I also have Ransome Realty Group. I have a page for that I have not quite put all the effort into, just because I have my personal page and I have my one business page, and then I'll do this one for my brokerage. And then on Instagram, Rob Ransome, and my name is Ransome. I have an E on the end of my name. So Rob Ransome on Instagram, and on Twitter, hold for ransom.
Okay.
On Twitter, I made that up a long time ago.
So. I like it. And
hold for Ransome on Twitter and LinkedIn, which is where I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's just my name, Robert Ransome, on LinkedIn.
All right. So sellers, flippers, even buyers, pay attention. Reach out to Rob. He definitely has the chops to get your deals done. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And you guys tune in next time for the Resell Show.